I have a devotion booklet that a dear friend of mine gave me, and I read it pretty regularly. A recent devotion was titled Rescued, from Exodus, the 3rd chapter, verses 7 and 8. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out. Because of their slave drivers, I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of the land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Over the years, I've had my share of fair weather friends. You know the kind. If the big game is on at your house, or if you've got extra tickets to a concert, they're right there with their hand out, believing they should be first in line. After all, you're friends, pals, buddies. But when you need them, they always seem to find something else to do. Their loyalty goes only as far as what they can get, not what they can give. Jesus is more of a stormy weather friend than a fair weather friend. It doesn't take blue skies for him to show up in your life. In fact, the cries of his people brought the Lord to Egypt that day. He wasn't there because they had the largest flat screen TV, nor did he come for a fish fry. He came because in his own words, he was concerned about their suffering. Jesus is the kind of person that will be there at 3 o'clock in the morning during a blizzard to help you change a tire on a country road in the middle of nowhere. He wouldn't even hesitate to jump out of a warm bed to come rescue you. His friendship with you means something to him. Jesus values you enough to be inconvenienced by the things that only he can help you with. You can count on him. He isn't screening your calls with caller ID, no matter your situation, and he knows exactly what it is. He will answer your call. The psalmist David said it best, in the day of my trouble I will call upon you, for you will answer me. I do believe that. I believe that Jesus answers our calls. He answers all of our prayers. Maybe not in the way that we always would like, but they're always heard and they're always answered. That devotion got me thinking about expectations. We hear in Matthew chapter 2, there were expectations before Jesus was even born. It says, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? Did you hear it? King of the Jews. They were seeking a king. They wanted to make alliances. They wanted to come and worship this king that was foretold. But King of the Jews was the specific thing they were looking for. Even after Jesus was born, even during his ministry. Later on in Matthew chapter 20, the 12 disciples are already called and have been following Jesus. And then 2 of the disciples' mother comes along. 20 verse 20. Then the mother of Zebedee's sons came to Jesus with her sons and kneeling down asked a favor of him. What is it you want? He asked. She said, grant that one of these 2 sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at the left in your kingdom. You don't know what you are asking, Jesus said to them. Can you drink the cup I am going to drink? Jesus came to suffer and to die because he knows our suffering. He cares. He came to pay the atonement for sin that is the cause of all of this suffering, to address that. But before he was born, people were thinking of an earthly king. The Jews were waiting for the son of David to come, to restore them to a dynasty, to a people on top of the food chain again, to release them from the oppression and the rule of the Romans. The disciples, the closest to Jesus, thought the same thing. They would invite Jesus in to change their status. They're thinking afterwards about an earthly kingdom again. And even though Jesus hears our every prayer, even though he cares about our suffering, I wonder if now that even after he's come, if I don't think the same thing sometimes. Too narrow, too shallow. I don't want to just invite Jesus into my life to hang out, to be here. I want him to deliver me. I want this whole quarantine thing to be over. This devotion asks us to instead invite Jesus into our pain, to spend time with us, to be with us, to be what matters, for him to be enough for us. And I can say honestly, at times during this whole thing that's going on, I don't want that. I don't want to just hang out. I want exactly what the Jews wanted. I'm no different. I wanted Jesus to come in, sweep in, and just change all of this, for it to all be over and be different in my eyes, not according to his plan. But Jesus is asking today for you and for me to consider inviting him into our pain, to sit with us, to spend time with us, and to use this situation to draw us ever closer to him in the moment, not when it's all over. Heavenly Father, I pray exactly that. I invite you into my pain this day, that you would come down, that you would come into these circumstances, that you would speak to my heart and the heart of others, that we would draw ever closer to you during this time, not afterwards, but in it, because you died and you know every ounce of our pain. You were tempted in every way that we are, yet without sin. And you paid the price for all of this. You already have a plan in mind. You already know it. Help me to trust that. And in the meantime, to just focus on you. In your precious name I pray. Amen.